Okay, now that we've got everything out of the box, let's get to the important part. We need to get our cradle attached to the adapter for your ball mount. You're going to need a couple of tools. First thing you'll need is you're going to need a socket. This is a 7mm socket to work the tiny little nuts for the adapter. Then you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver for the screws for the adapter. Then you need a little tiny Phillips head screwdriver. You see this green piece of tape on the back here. Well, I don't want to take it off yet. You'll have to, once you get the power cable in here, you'll pull this tape off, and there's a little screw that screws into your power cable to hold it all together, and you need a pretty small Phillips head screwdriver to accomplish that. So let's move on to inserting the power cable. Get your power cable, and you'll notice if you look at the back side of it, there's a screw hole on that side. So take note of that. You want it to have the same orientation as the little screw. It'll be a little bit more apparent as we put it together. So you want your screw hole at the top right corner as you insert everything. And it is a pretty snug fit, so you're going to have to force it through. Okay, once it's through, you can see now it's all the way through there. We're going to go ahead and pull our green tape. Make sure you don't drop the little screw. Okay, that little screw is in there. I'm going to just tap it down here onto the table so we don't lose it. There it is. Okay. Now rotate your cable. This is really hard to see on camera. Rotate your cable so that it lines up with this screw hole here. See, it's down in this second pocket now, and this second hole is too small for it to pull back out. You're just getting it to sink down in there. See how it's kind of snugged down in there now? Push on it a little bit, and now you put that little tiny screw back in there. Ta-da! Now you're done with the little screwdriver. Now we can mount this onto here. Looks to me like the holes only line up in two directions. It's a little bit longer one direction, so get your holes lined up. Get all your spacers out of the bag, spacers, washers. And screws. We can tighten them up. Alright. After you fight with it a little bit, it's really awkward to hold a screwdriver and work a ratchet at the same time. Eventually, you'll get them all tightened down, nice and snug. Then you can move on to the bike side of the project. Okay, now that you've got the cradle assembled, we'll come over to the bike. And first thing you need to do is choose somewhere to mount your handlebar mount that came with the Zumo. I already have a mount that you can see right here. It's the same one that comes with the Zumo. I bought this separately. Right now it's got the cradle in it for my, I think it's a Garmin Oregon. It's like a hiking GPS. I cannot wait to not have to use that thing on my motorcycle because it is terrible. I am going to, for demonstration purposes for the video, we're just going to show mounting it right here. I'm actually going to use this other ram mount I have up here, but I don't have a long enough arm, so I'm waiting for one of those to come in the mail. So first thing you got to do is get your bracket that came with your Zumo mounted to your handlebars. Very straightforward. Pretty sure you guys can figure it out. And then the Zumo also comes with the arm. This isn't the one that came with the Zumo, but it was already on the bike, so we're going to use that one. And pretty sure you all know how to assemble a ram mount. Alright. Keep in mind, every bike's going to be different. Everybody's going to have their own personal preferences. Don't just assume that this is going to be the best spot on your bike. Play with it. It took me a while, surprisingly, as simple as it is, it took me a while to choose this exact spot. Let me get my tank bag out of the way. I've seen a lot of people that will mount right in the center of the handlebars. That's not a great spot if you have a big tank bag. My tank bag was sitting up about here, so you can't. It's going to be different. Find a good spot that fits your bike. Alright, and then once you've chosen where your GPS is going to be mounted, you have to kind of keep in mind, because it's hardwired to the bike, you're not going to be able to move it a whole lot. Because your wires are going to be tucked down in there, you can give yourself a little bit of slack if you want to move it later on. But for the most part, it's just going to stay in one spot. So once you choose that spot, then you can run your wiring, so you know how much wire you need to get back to your battery. I'm not going to go through actually hooking the wires up on this bike. This is more of just a couple of quick tips for you. This doesn't come with a fuse holder, so make sure that you put a fuse on your power wire, the red wire, as close to the battery as you can get it. That will protect. The closer it is to the battery, the more of your circuit is protected. And also do what you can to get it onto switched power, so that your GPS will only have power going to it through these pins here when your key is on. Didn't actually need to turn the key on there. If you hook it straight to your battery, even when you have your key off, your GPS is still going to be getting power. It's really easy to forget and park your garage or your bike in the garage overnight and leave the GPS on, and you can kill your battery if you do it that way. And that's no fun, to come out the next morning and have to get out the jump starter. So put a fuse on it and do what you can to get it to switched power. That's really the two most important things. Then also keep in mind, if you're doing a setup like this where it's mounted to your handlebars, you have to leave yourself enough wire that as the handlebars are moving, this wire is not going to get pulled really tight. You don't want to do that. So the safest bet is to follow your stock cables and wires and take the same path that they do, because that's going to ensure that there's enough slack there, because those are already planned to have enough slack in them. And if you do a mount like this, which is what I'm going to do in the long run, see, I've got another ram ball up here so that it can be right up in my windshield. This doesn't move with the handlebars, so you can get your wiring nice and tight and as clean as you want it.